Hello aspirants, welcome to Environment course by UPSC Experts. See, now we are starting with PT 365, right? See, we are doing PT 365 of 2024 and 2025. This is part 1 of PT 365, right? See, to watch this class, you need to have your PT 365 in your hand, right? And your class notes in your hand, right? The entire class notes, because most of the topics given in PT 365 are covered in the class notes also, right? So most of the topics we will be doing or revising from the class notes. I will just be telling you page number, right? You can pause the video and you can read what is there in the class notes, right? Then PT 365 में जो भी चीजें पढ़ना है, ठीक है, जो चीजें समझना है, I will be making you to read that and understand that, right? So let's go to the PT 365 and we will start with the class. See, this is PT 365 of environment, right? So PT 365, right, of 2024-25, right? See, we'll start with first topic, that is biodiversity. In this class, we'll be doing with biodiversity, right? So we'll do till here, right? So let's start with first topic. See, this is the first topic. See, biodiversity. First is red list of threatened species. Red list of threatened species, right? See, we have already covered this in our class notes. See, IUCN has updated red list of threatened species. Red list of threatened species क्या है? Right? Provides information about animals, plants and fungus species which are at risk of extinction in 9 categories given below. So let's go to the class notes of page 455, right? Let's go to the class notes of page 455. See, here we have covered IUCN, right? IUCN, we have covered everything related to IUCN, right? So IUCN red list, right? See, IUCN is best known for compiling and publishing IUCN red list of threatened species, which assess the conservation status of species worldwide. IUCN red list of threatened species, also known as IUCN red list, is founded in 1964. It is one of the most well-known objective assessment systems for classifying status of plants, animals and other organisms, that is fungus threatened with extinction, right? So we have covered that, right? So what is given, we have already covered it, right? Then we have also discussed set criteria kya hai? Then we have discussed the categories under IUCN red list, right? We have covered extinct in wild. See, whatever is given here is sufficient. No need to go and read anything else. So entire topic is covered, right? We have covered extinct ka species kya hai, all the things we have covered, right? Right? So this entire topic we can skip it, right? No need to study anything. All these are covered in our class notes already, and these species also no need to remember, right? These are not important from the prelims perspective or anything, because ये याद भी नहीं कर सकता है, right? नया ऐड किया, you can comfortably skip them, right? इतना important नहीं है, हम focus करेंगे important चीजों पे, right? So let's move to next topic. See, next topic is new topic. So this we will be preparing comprehensively. See, that is sustainable finance for Tiger Landscapes Conference. Sustainable finance for Tiger Landscapes Conference, see, was hosted by Bhutan government, right? Sustainable finance for Tiger Landscape के लिए sustainable finance के लिए conference हुआ, that was hosted by Bhutan government and supported by Tiger Conservation Coalition. Tiger Conservation Coalition support किया, right? Right. So what is this conference? Let's understand it. See, sustainable finance for Tiger Landscape Conference, right, is what seeks to increase the support for tiger protection and its landscapes by using new financial strategies and global partnerships as stated in the पैरो स्टेटमेंट, राइट? पैरो स्टेटमेंट ने रिलीज किया, राइट? इनका मेन मकसद क्या है? सस्टेनेबल फिनेंस, टाइगर लैंडस्केप्स के लिए सस्टेनेबल फिनेंसेस अरेंज करना. एंड वो क्या है? दैट इज सीक्स टू मोबिलाइज US dollars 1 billion in additional funding by 2034. See, this happened in 2024. That means in 10 years, that is, they need to raise 1 billion dollars, 1 billion US dollars in 10 years, right? For tiger landscapes, tigers को protect करने के लिए, right? That is sustainable finance for tiger landscapes conference held in Bhutan, right? Right? Then किस किसने टाइगर कंजर्वेशन कोलिजन ने किया. नाउ दिस इज इंपॉर्टेंट, दैट इज टाइगर कंजर्वेशन कोलिजन is important. What is this tiger conservation coalition? It is an independent group of organizations, right, bringing together leading biologists and experts in wildlife with focus on achieving tiger conservation. ये कुछ नहीं है. See, tiger conservation coalition, you can write it down as it is 10 organizations. 10 organizations, right? So 10 organizations मिलके tiger conservation coalition बनाया. 10 organizations में क्या है? Few are given here, that is IUCN, right? Then UNDP, then Wildlife Conservation Society, Worldwide Fund, etc. So 10 organizations are see IUCN, right? Then UNDP, right? Wildlife Conservation Society, right? Then WWF, then traffic is also there, right? Traffic we have studied, right? Traffic. Then पैंतेरा करके एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, वो भी है, राइट, एक्सेट्रा. लाइक द सिमिलर काइंड ऑफ ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस, 10 ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस आर देयर, राइट. सो 10 ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस मिलके टाइगर कंजर्वेशन कोलिशन बनाया, राइट, फॉर ये बेसिकली ग्रुप फॉर टाइगर कंजर्वेशन को अचीव करने के लिए, राइट. सो दैट इज द थिंग. देन सस्टेनेबल फाइनेंस फॉर लैंडस्केप, राइट, टाइगर लैंडस्केप इन्वेस्टमेंट फंड, right, all these are not important, right. So these are the informations we need to remember, right. This is the essential information we need to remember. बाकी सब important नहीं है, right, बाकी सब important नहीं है. And this is important about Indian tiger, right. We have already covered in our class notes, right. Indian tiger we have already covered, that is there in page number 189, right. Page number 189, everything about tiger we have covered, right. So you can easily skip it, right. इधर ये है maximum tiger population is in Madhya Pradesh followed by Karnataka and Uttarakhand, right. This point also we have covered, right, and rest everything we have covered in our notes. So we are moving to next topic, right. बाकी कुछ पढ़ने की जरूरत भी नहीं है. Tiger landscapes, right, everything is irrelevant for us. Only this much is relevant for us, right. And tiger conservation coalition is important, right. 10 organizations ने मिलके बनाया, right. Then next is International Big Cat Alliance. So this is again very important. International Big Cat Alliance, IBCA, International Big Cat Alliance, that is Union government approved the proposal of India to become a member of IBCA by signing and ratification of framework agreement, right. Then let's study about International Big Cat Alliance, right. ये Big Cats का alliance है, right, formed in 2023 में फॉर्म हुआ, right, by इंडिया ने लॉन्च किया, right, on the 50th anniversary of Project Tiger. So Project Tiger जब 50 years का पहुंच गया, right, then India has launched from International Big Cat Alliance in 2023, right. 2023. अब देखो, now let's first understand this, who all can be members, right. That is, it is members of, see, multi-country and multi-agency coalition. Participant consists of 95 big cat range countries, right, and non-range countries interested in big cat conservation, right. ये नहीं कि ये याद करना है सिर्फ कंट्री रेंज कंट्रीज भी नहीं है, right. जो नॉन रेंज कंट्रीज, मान ले किसी कंट्री में टाइगर बिग कैट कुछ है ही नहीं, right, they can also participate, right. So interested, they can participate. Then conservation partners and related scientific organizations, right. All UN member countries are eligible to become the members of International Big Cat Alliance. So this is the important point, right. So ये जरूरी नहीं है वो range countries हो, right. So all countries can participate, all UN members can participate, right. Then 9 international organizations have also consented to be partner organization, right. So that is, now they can, which all countries can join now. अब एक्चुअल में किस किस कंट्रीज ने ज्वाइन किया, राइट, दैट मीन्स जो एग्रीमेंट साइन किया, अडॉप्ट किया, राइट, एट प्रेजेंट इंडिया, निकारागुआ, इस्वातिनी एंड सोमालिया हैव जॉइंड, राइट, हैव जॉइंड, राइट. नाउ हेडक्वार्टर इज इन इंडिया. सी, इंडिया ने शुरू किया, राइट, हेडक्वार्टर इज इन इंडिया, राइट. देन व्हाट इज द मेन एम? मेन एम इज strengthen global cooperation for the conservation of 7 big cats. So how many big cats we are conserving? So International Big Cat Alliance. How many big cats? 7 big cats. 7 big cats are tiger, lion, leopard, snow leopard, cheetah, jaguar, puma and their habitats. Right? So we need to remember what are those 7. 7 are tiger, lion, leopard, snow leopard, cheetah, jaguar and puma, right? Tiger, lion, leopard, snow leopard, cheetah, jaguar and puma, right? And India inhabits all cats except puma and jaguar, right? So jaguar and puma India में नहीं है, ये छोड़ के बाकी 5 इंडिया में प्रेजेंट है, right? So these are the 7 big cats you need to remember, right? You need to remember, right? जैसे ये भी देंगे, snow, they will give you clouded leopard, but clouded leopard is not there, right? So we have tiger, lion, leopard, snow leopard, cheetah, jaguar and puma, right? These are the 7 big cats, right? And India inhabits all cats except puma and jaguar. So puma and jaguar are not there in India, right? Puma and jaguar are not there in India, right? So now see, this is also important. IUCN status. See, tiger is endangered. We have already studied tiger is endangered. Then बाकी जो इंडिया में है, right, वो vulnerable है. That is lion, cheetah, snow leopard and leopard. They are vulnerable, right? All the 4 are vulnerable. जो इंडिया में नहीं है, one is near threatened, right, and other is least concerned, right? So near threatened and least concerned, that means जो इंडिया में है they are relatively more vulnerable, जो इंडिया में नहीं है they are relatively safe, right? Least concerned, near threatened is jaguar is near threatened and least concerned is puma, right? All 5 big cats in India are listed in Schedule 1 and 4 of Wildlife Protection Act and CITES Appendix, right? So Schedule 1 में भी है, right, and Schedule 4 में भी है, because सब चीजें CITES में protected है, right? So Schedule 1 and Schedule 4, right? All the 5 big cats present in India, right? And they can be asked, 5 big cats present in India are, right? So except puma and jaguar, 5 big cats are present in India, right? So this is International Big Cat Alliance, which is very important, right? Which is very important. Now let's see next. See next, elephant census. कुछ भी पढ़ने के लिए जरूरत नहीं है, nothing, because we have already covered elephant. जो Indian elephant का है, we have already covered in page number 199 of the notes, right? You can go through it there, right? And one thing here you can remember is that is India is home to over 60% of world's elephant population. Highest population is in Karnataka, followed by Assam and Kerala, right? And Kumki elephant, see, this is missing in our notes. You can highlight it here and read it from here. Kumki elephants are term used for captive Asian elephants that are trained to be used in operations to trap wild elephants, right? To trap wild elephants, उनको trap करने के लिए kumki elephants use करते हैं, right? So except this, everything is covered in our notes. You can cover it from here, right? So difference between Asian elephant and African elephants we have already covered, so you can read it from our notes, right? We already did it in our class, right? Class notes से आप सीधा पढ़ सकते हो, right? Then next is state of rhino report, right? Again this is covered. Rhinos we have covered in page number 208, right? Page number 208 of our notes we have covered. So again you can completely skip this, right? No need to read anything from here, right? Once you follow our notes, right? Next is Great Indian Bastard, right? Great Indian Bastard, again we have covered it in page number 463, page number 463. So you can read it from there, right? और इधर एक बार पढ़ लेते हैं, right? See that is Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change approved funds for next phase, that is from 2024 to 29 of Bastard Recovery Program. Bastard Recovery Program से right program के लिए funds approve किया. Bastard Recovery Program, that is coverage of species, right? Species covered are bastard. Basically it is for bastard species. Coverage are Great Indian Bastard and Lesser Florican. Lesser Florican, that is 2 of the 4 bastard species are covered, right? And other 2 are Bengal Florican and McQueen's bastard. See, while in class, while discussing the bastard species present in India, we discussed कि 3 bastards present है, right? Which is true because see, Great Indian Bastard is present, Lesser Florican Bastard is present, and Bengal Florican is present. But this 4th one we didn't mention because it is a migratory species, right? Migratory है, India में ये summer में आती है, right? So sorry, right? It comes in winter, right? Migratory species. So that's why. So overall 4 species है, right? This is not from an Indian species. So that's why we covered 3 bastards, right? Are there in India? This is a migratory bird, right? So 4 bastard species, right? Either way is correct only, right? So background, first started in 2013, Bastard Recovery Program, changed to Bastard Recovery Project in 2016, extended till 2033. अभी 2033 तक है, right? Implemented by Wildlife Institute of India, right? Funding agency, National Compensatory Afforestation Fund and Planning Authority, right? We have discussed, right? वो funding कर रही है. Then partner agencies of Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, right? Then Rajasthan Forest Department, then Gujarat and Maharashtra Forest Departments, right? Department of States जहाँ ये species present है, right? दोनों Great Indian Bastard and Lesser Florican, right? Then project में conservation, breeding, etc. everything related to we have already discussed, right? Then other collaborating agencies, Bombay Natural History Society is also there, established in 1883, right? So that is with respect to the Bastard Recovery Program. Covered species are Great Indian Bastard and Lesser Florican, right? Though covered है, right? So now let's see about Lesser Florican. See, Lesser Florican, right? First, it IUCN status is critically endangered, right? So we have studied out of 3 bastard species, right? Class में देखा Bengal Florican भी critically endangered है, Great Indian Bastard भी critically endangered है, and Lesser Florican भी critically endangered है. So the 3 bastards species present in India, right? जो India में रहती है, 3 are critically endangered. All the 3 are critically endangered. So Lesser Florican, Bengal Florican, and Great Indian Bastard are critically endangered, right? Critically endangered. Cites Appendix 1, Wildlife Protection Act, Schedule 1, right? Habitat, Lesser Florican, smallest bastard of bastard family, right? Habitat, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, and Andhra Pradesh, right? So, and this is the Lesser Florican bird, right? And Great Indian Bastard we have already covered, right? Great Indian Bastard का already endemic to Indian subcontinent, right? That is only find in Indian subcontinent. Mostly that is in Rajasthan and Gujarat में ज्यादा है, right? Small population in Maharashtra, Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh में एक आधा 2 3 हो तो उधर है, right? Then conservation efforts, key habitats as national park and sanctuaries. Example, Desert National Park, Rajasthan. Again, this is very important. Desert National Park of Rajasthan में Great Indian Bastard है, and Nalia Grassland or Lala Bastard Wildlife Sanctuary में भी है, right? Then Great Indian Bastard conservation breeding centers are there in Rajasthan. Artificial insemination at a national breeding center in Jaisalmer में भी है, right? Then training of personals, right, is also happening in Abu Dhabi for this program, right? So rest everything critically endangered bird है Great Indian Bastard, right? And it is among the species recovery program we have already studied. Wildlife Protection Act Schedule 1 we have already studied, right? So this is Great Indian Bastard, right? Great Indian Bastard, right? We have already studied. Except this, there is nothing to study, right? All these things you can skip, right? We have covered. जो notes में है वो अच्छे से पढ़ लो. That would be sufficient, right? Then next is Crocodile Conservation Project. Crocodile Conservation Project, right? Again, there is nothing to study here, right? See, recently Crocodile Conservation Project completed 50 years, right? So this we can study, right? सी क्रोकोडाइल कंजर्वेशन प्रोजेक्ट क्या है? इंडिया लॉन्च इट्स क्रोकोडाइल कंजर्वेशन प्रोजेक्ट इन ओडिशा's भितरकनिका नेशनल पार्क in 1975 with the assistance of UNDP and UNA's फूड एंड एग्रीकल्चर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, राइट। क्रोकोडाइल कंजर्वेशन कहा हुआ? भितरकनिका नेशनल पार्क में 1975 में शुरू हुआ, राइट, विद हेल्प ऑफ यूएनडीपी एंड यूएन्स फूड एंड एग्रीकल्चर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, राइट, फूड एंड एग्रीकल्चर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, राइट। सो that is let's study about Bhitarkanika National Park. So Bhitarkanika National Park is a Ramsar site located in Odisha and is India's second largest mangrove ecosystem, right? India's second largest mangrove ecosystem after Sundarbans, right? It is essentially networks of creeks and canals which are indented with waters from rivers Brahmani, Baitarni, Dharma and Patashala. So ये क्या है? मैंग्रोव सिस्टम है, राइट। जैसे सुंदरबन से वो गंगा एंड मेगा रिवर से जहां ओशन में मिलती है उधर बना, राइट। हियर इट इज रिवर्स ऑफ ब्राह्मणी, बैतरनी, धर्मा एंड पाठशाला, चार रिवर्स जब ओशन से मिलती है उधर बन रही है दिस मैंग्रोव फॉरेस्ट, भितरकनिका नेशनल पार्क उधर भी बनाया, राइट। होम टू द लार्जेस्ट कॉन्ग्लोमेरेशन ऑफ सॉल्ट वाटर क्रोकोडाइल, अगेन वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, ठीक है, क्वेश्चन ऑलरेडी 2-3 बार पूछ चुका है यूपीएससी, राइट। होम टू लार्जेस्ट कॉन्ग्रीगेशन ऑफ सॉल्ट वाटर क्रोकोडाइल अलोंग विथ वाटर मॉनिटर लिजर्ड, सी मॉनिटर लिजर्ड भी हमने देखा स्पीसीज जब पढ़ते हुए, राइट। सो अगेन ये पॉइंट इंपॉर्टेंट है, सॉल्ट वाटर क्रोकोडाइल्स, ठीक है, भितरकनिका। एंड नोट्स में जाके सॉल्ट वाटर क्रोकोडाइल के बारे में पढ़ो, कहां कहां मिलता है इंडिया में सॉल्ट वाटर क्रोकोडाइल? अंडमान एंड निकोबार्स, राइट, भितरकनिका नेशनल पार्क एंड सुंदरबंस, राइट। इन्हीं तीन एरिया में सॉल्ट वाटर क्रोकोडाइल मिलती है, राइट, राइट। सो दैट इज इंपॉर्टेंट, ये बॉक्स इंपॉर्टेंट है, राइट, दीज पॉइंट्स आर इंपॉर्टेंट, राइट। देन बाकी क्रोकोडाइल्स का हमने ऑलरेडी कवर किया, राइट, वी कवर्ड all the alligators, right, crocodiles, right, gharials, everything we have covered in the notes, go and study, right। फिर भी crocodiles are the largest surviving species of vertebrates called reptila, reptiles है, right, reptiles में largest है, बड़ा, right। habitat except for one salt water species, right, एक ही salt water, that is salt water crocodile, वो brackish water में रहता है, other crocodiles live mainly in fresh water swamps, lakes and rivers, right। So other crocodiles except one, so that makes it saltwater crocodile more important, right। So then they are nocturnal animals, right, and are poikilothermic, that is regulate their body temperature only to limited degree, regulate their body temperature only to a limited degree तक ही body temperature regulate करती है, regulate their body temperature only to a limited degree, right। Then gharial, again gharial is very important, right, gharial, right, we have already covered, notes में जाके gharial के बारे में अच्छे से पढ़ो, because it is critically endangered species, famous for its bulb, right, बड़े उसके लिए फेमस है, एवरीथिंग शेड्यूल 1 में प्रोटेक्ट, साइट्स अपेंडिक्स 1, राइट। हैबिटेट इनहेबिट फ्रेश वाटर रिवर्स ऑफ चंबल, गिरवा, गागरा, सोन एंड गंडक ऑफ इंडिया, राइट। इंडिया में ये बेसिकली जो इनर रिवर्स है, जो ओपनिंग नहीं है, सॉल्ट वाटर ओपनिंग नहीं है, बिकॉज ये फ्रेश वाटर में रहती है। सो चंबल, गिरवा, गागरा, सोन एंड गंडक सिर्फ इन्हीं रिवर्स में मिलती है, राइट। सो कैरेक्टर्स नेम घरियाल बिकॉज ऑफ bulbous knob at the end of their long narrow snout, primarily eat fish, हमने ये डिस्कस किया, ये इंसान को खा ही नहीं सकता बिकॉज बड़ा ये है, पतला सा है और ज्यादा ओपन नहीं कर सकता है, सो दे ईट ओनली स्मॉल फिश, राइट, ये भी डिस्कस किया, राइट। सो घरियाल अगेन वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, राइट, फिर भी दोबारा डिस्कस किया हियर, राइट। सो नाउ लेट्स सी नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, अगेन दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, फंगा, राइट, फंगा और फंगस, फंगाई, राइट, ऐसा ही क्वेश्चन आ सकता है, यूपीएससी आजकल क्वेश्चंस पूछ रही है इनसे, राइट। सो व्हाट इज द न्यूज, सी द फंगाई फाउंडेशन थ्रू यूएन बायोडाइवर्सिटी urged people globally to use word funga whenever they say flora and fauna as part of trinity of life on earth, सी अभी जब भी हम बात करते हैं फ्लोरा एंड फना, फ्लोरा मीन्स प्लांट्स, राइट, फना मीन्स एनिमल्स, राइट। अब ये लोग प्रपोज कर रहे हैं भाई तीन, तीसरा भी यूज करो साथ में, दैट इज फंगा, बिकॉज फंगस भी उतना ही इंपॉर्टेंट है। सो ट्रिनिटी बनाओ, फ्लोरा, फोना एंड फंगा, इनका ट्रिनिटी बनाओ, राइट, इनका ट्रिनिटी बनाओ, इनका ट्रिनिटी बना के यूज करो, बिकॉज फंगा आर ऑल्सो एज डाइवर्स एंड एज इंपॉर्टेंट एज प्लांट्स एंड एनिमल्स, राइट। सो ट्रिनिटी ऑफ लाइफ ऑन अर्थ हो जाएगा, राइट। सो फंगा और फंगाई के बारे में पढ़ते हैं, राइट। सो refers to the levels of diversity of fungi in any given place. So ये क्यों है भाई, diversity बहुत ज्यादा है। Then fungi is one of the 5 kingdoms in the classification of organisms given by R.H. Whittaker. So if you remember, right, in one of the questions we discussed 5 classification, right? One, plants, fauna, fungi, right, and monera, right, we have discussed, right. So this is one, right. Then diversity vary from single celled organisms to complex multicellular organisms, right. So single celled organisms भी है, multicellular organisms भी है flora and fauna में, right. Single celled organisms to complex multicellular organisms, right. Distribution from tropical to temperate to arctic regions in both terrestrial and aquatic ecosystems. Arctic regions in both terrestrial and aquatic ecosystems सब जगह basically मिलती है, right. Then characteristics have a cell wall with chitin, right. Cell wall है, right. You need to remember all these points. See, these are important points. So cell wall is present, cell wall with chitin, right. Chitin is cell wall with chitin, right. Mode of nutrition is heterotrophic, right. That is ऑटोट्रोफ्स नहीं है, राइट, दूसरे जो बनाते हैं वो खाते हैं, राइट, एंड दे आर मोस्टली पैरासाइटिक और सेप्रोफाइटिक। सी इफ यू सी मशरूम इज ए फंगाई, राइट, मशरूम इज ए फंगाई। व्हाइल इन क्लास वी डिस्कस, सी मशरूम क्या है, मशरूम टेक न्यूट्रिएंट्स फ्रॉम सॉइल, राइट, पैरासाइटिक है मशरूम, राइट। सो दूसरे केमिकल्स भी रिलीज करती है ताकि दूसरे प्लांट्स ग्रो ना करे, राइट, ताकि सॉइल से ये पूरा न्यूट्रिएंट्स रखे। सो दिस इज पैरासाइटिक मशरूम एंड अदर फंगाई दे आर सेप्रोफाइटिक, दैट मींस सेप्रोफाइटिक मींस detritivores, डेड प्लांट्स, राइट, डेड प्लांट्स एंड डेड लीव्स को खा के रहती है फंगाई, राइट। फंगाई डेड प्लांट्स एंड डेड लीव्स वगैरह को खाते, सो दे आर हेट्रोट्रोफ्स। फूड इज मोड ऑफ न्यूट्रिशन इज हेट्रोट्रोफ्स, दैट इज either सेप्रोट्रोपिक, सेप्रोफाइटिक और पैरासाइटिक, right. Then body organization multicellular or loose tissue, right. Then significance of fungi again very important, that is mycorrhizal, we have already discussed, right. Mycorrhizal fungi mutually association with the roots of the plants, right. जैसे 80% of trees में mycorrhizal fungi होती है which helps plants in absorption of nutrients, right, we have discussed. Then carbon reservoirs storing carbon, जो fungi है they store carbon, right, they store carbon. Then decomposition and the nutrient cycle act as decomposers. See, हमने saprophytic, that means they eat dead leaves, dead organisms, right. So they act as decomposers converting debris to humus, so benefit plant growth in soil, right. So new decomposers है they, right. Then mycoremediation, that is assist in degradation of contaminants such as plastic. So mycoremediation, bioremediation में we have discussed mycoremediation is what? Mycoremediation is use of fungi, right? Use of fungi in bioremediation, right? So fungi mycoremediation assist in degradation of contaminants such as plastics. Medicine, that is antibiotics में produce करने के लिए, penicillin produce करने के लिए fungi use किया. Then potential psychotherapy के लिए we have used fungi, right. So antibiotic potential के लिए medicines use करते हैं. Then focus in international organizations, right. So see, and ये point remember है, Chile is the only country that considers fungi in its law for conservation, right. जैसे इंडिया में wild animals, wild plant conservation है, right, but fungi का नहीं है. So Chile is the only country that considers fungi in its law of conservation, right. So this is the basic information, important चीज है, right. So this is important topic, right. Fungi and fungi, we need to know everything about fungi, सारे points रटना है आपको, right. So that is there. Then कंपेयर दिस बॉक्सेस बिटवीन, राइट, ये भी चीज सी, फ्लोरा, plants, animals, fauna, and fungi. Right. So flora includes algae, flowers, and trees. Here insects, reptiles, and mammals, animals सब कुछ आता है. Right. And here fungi include mushrooms. See, mushrooms are fungi. ये point हमने already mushrooms पे questions भी किए. Right. We have studied. Then moles are fungi and yeasts are fungi. Right. ये सब पूछेंगे. Right. Then reproduction happens, right, through spores or asexual reproduction. Right. Spores or asexual reproduction. Right. Here reproduction happens through seeds, through spores, and through vegetative propagation. And here sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction happens in animals. Right. Then plants are primary producer. They are animals are can be consumer, prey, or predator, and these are decomposers. Mostly fungi are decomposers. Right. They are detritivores. Right. So that is with respect to fungi. Again, very important topic. इसको अच्छे से पढ़ना है. Right. Then let's see next. Whole network of biosphere reserves. Right. We have covered it in our class. Right. Network of biosphere reserves. Everything we have covered. So no need to study it here. Right. पूरा class note से you can completely cover it. Right. So biosphere reserves जो भी है, right, class में we have completely covered it. Then eco-sensitive areas. See, eco-sensitive areas we have covered it. Right. See, eco-sensitive areas we covered it in page number 179. Right. Eco-sensitive zones. Right. Eco-sensitive zones cover किया, and biosphere reserves we have covered it in class notes in page number 172. Page number 172. Right. So you can read it from here. Right. So eco-sensitive area से cover किया, फिर भी इधर थोड़ा पढ़ लेते हैं. See, that is Karnataka government rejected the Kasturi Rangarajan committee report on protection of fragile Western Ghats from environmental degradation. अब Kasturi Rangarajan committee is important. Right. वो भी पढ़ेंगे इस क्लास में. Right. See, कस्तूरी रंजन कमिटी, सॉरी, कस्तूरी रंगराजन नहीं, कस्तूरी रंगन कमिटी. राइट. कस्तूरी रंगन कमिटी क्या बोलती है? proposes that 37% of the total area of Western Ghats, that is roughly 60,000 square kilometers, to be declared as eco-sensitive area or eco-sensitive zone. Right. So that is 37% of the Western Ghats है. जैसे देखो, ये वेस्टर्न घाट्स है पूरा, ये ग्रीन कलर एरिया. राइट. दिस इज वेस्टर्न घाट्स. सो कस्तूरी रंजन कमिटी क्या बोला भाई, जो 37% ऑफ द एरिया, इसको इको सेंसिटिव जोन डिक्लेयर करो. राइट. 37%. अब क्या है, लोग अपोज कर रहे हैं. जैसे इको सेंसिटिव जोन डिक्लेयर करेंगे उधर वी हैव डिस्कस्ड बहुत सारे एक्टिविटीज प्रोहिबिटेड है. राइट. एंड मेनी एक्टिविटीज आर रेगुलेटेड. सो that will be livelihood issue for people. So people are against this report. Right. So government also opposing the report. Right. Karnataka government rejected the Kasturi on protection of fragile, because if you protect or restrict, that will lead to industrial development नहीं होगा. In fact, tea growers है, they will have problem. Right. Plantation workers, they will have problem. Right. So government is not agreeing and people were protesting earlier against this report. But how? ठीक है, out of the total area of proposed ESA, maximum is in Karnataka, followed by Maharashtra, because Karnataka में ज्यादा वेस्टर्न घाट्स है. राइट. सो 37%, so this is Karnataka. Right. This much of western घाट्स is in Karnataka. After that it is in Maharashtra. Right. So that's why Karnataka is bound to oppose it. Right. However, अब देखो, एक्चुअली वेस्टर्न घाट्स में देखा जाए तो क्या है, ठीक है, पहले बना वेस्टर्न घाट्स इकोलॉजी एक्सपर्ट पैनल और द माधव गडगिल कमिटी. माधव गडगिल कमिटी बना ये 2011 में. राइट. एंड व्हाट डिड इट प्रपोज? माधव गडगिल कमिटी प्रपोज recommended designating the entire region as eco-sensitive zone. Right. So Madhav Gadgil committee, what it did it propose? It proposed 100% of Western Ghats को डिक्लेयर करो एज इको सेंसिटिव जोन्स. राइट. अब गवर्नमेंट ने बोला ये तो नहीं हो जाएगा, ये हो ही नहीं सकता, दिस इज नॉट पॉसिबल. राइट. सो माधव गडगिल इज व्हाट एनवायरमेंटलिस्ट है, राइट. उसने बोला पूरा इको सेंसिटिव जोन डिक्लेयर करो, राइट. एंड डिवाइडेड जोन्स इनटू हाईली वेरी हाई सेंसिटिविटी एंड मॉडरेट सेंसिटिविटी, राइट. देन गवर्नमेंट बोला वी कैनॉट अग्री विद दिस, राइट. गडगिल, you are an environmentalist, so that is not possible. So they have made a other committee, high level working group, right. High level working group headed by Dr. K Kasturi Ranjan committee, right. So Kasturi Ranjan committee bola, right, this told 37% as eco sensitive area declare करो, right. अब गवर्नमेंट उसमें भी अग्री नहीं कर रही है, सो ये भी बोल रहे 37% is also not possible, right. So this is standstill with respect to protection of fragile Western Ghats, right. So that is with respect to Western Ghats, and eco-sensitive area or zones is there under declared under Environment Protection Act, right. So we have discussed it in the notes. You can study it from there, right. So no need to study it from here in class notes. We have discussed it properly, right. So rest everything you can completely ignore, right. Apart from this, right, and this, right. So there is nothing to study as all. ये Western Ghats का key features say which are covered in your geography and all, right. So no need to study much, right. Now let's see the next topic, that is see, intergovernmental platform on biodiversity and ecosystem services. Okay, this is important, right. IPBES. See, this is established in Panama City in 2012. It is an independent intergovernmental body to strengthen science policy interference for biodiversity and ecosystem services, right. Intergovernmental, that means governments are the members, right. Intergovernmental, between various governments, right. Intergovernmental platform on biodiversity and ecosystem services, right. Intergovernmental platform on biodiversity and ecosystem services, right. So and one thing is, it is not a UN body. However, United Nations Environment Program provides secretariat services to IPBES, right. So secretariat is in Bonn, Germany, right. Currently it has more than 145 member states including India. All state members of UN are eligible for IPBES membership, right. All state members of UN are eligible for IPBES membership. More than 145 member states including India, right, are eligible for IPBES membership, right. IPBES, right. So this is, again you need to remember, ये UN body नहीं है, right. Intergovernmental body है. India is also member, and UNEP provides secretariat services to it, right. So it is not covered in our notes and you can study it from here, right. So then next is the integrated development of wildlife habitat, right. Species recovery program के अंदर इसको cover किया, right. 22 species recovery program, and while studying species recovery program we have studied integrated development of wildlife habitat. So you can study it from there, right. I think in the last class, right, this is the penultimate topic we have discussed in class 16, right. Integrated development of wildlife habitat, and 22 species क्या है वो पता होना चाहिए आपको, right. You study it from here. Then a people's biodiversity register, we studied it, right. We studied it under National Biological Diversity Act, right. So that is page 429 mein you can see it, right. Also here also we will discuss it. See, people's biodiversity register is what? The biological diversity, right. Under Biological Diversity Act 2002 में, ठीक है, biodiversity management committees, that is at local level में committees बनाया, local bodies, right. So biodiversity management committees has to prepare people's biodiversity register in consultation with local people. People biodiversity register in consultation with local people से मिलके, right. उसमें क्या होगा? To document and safeguard bioresources and associated knowledge. right? So people's biodiversity register, right? People's biodiversity register information is availability and knowledge of local biological resources, comma their medicinal or any other use, any other traditional knowledge associated with them, ये सब provide होगा, right? Relevant support claims of local ownership of bio, we have covered it, right? So उसमें क्या होता है, क्वेश्चन भी कवर किया, right? इनफैक्ट बायोडाइवर्सिटी मैनेजमेंट कमिटी से वो लेवी ऑफ टैक्सेस वगैरह भी कर सकती है, राइट? पीपुल्स बायोडाइवर्सिटी रजिस्टर, राइट? अगेन इंपॉर्टेंट है, यू कैन cover it from class notes. Then environmental performance index 2024 has been released by AL Center of Environment and Law Policy, right? कौन रिलीज करता है, that is important. Rest other things are not important. And Estonia tops the list, that is important, right? Not for UPSC, for other exams it is important, right? Then next is the nature conservation index, इतना important है नहीं, right? Then camels we have already covered, right? You can check the notes में page 235 में है, right? Camels, सारे camels we have discussed, right? Bactrian camel क्या है, dromedary camel और Armenian camel क्या है, Karai camel क्या है, everything we have discussed. So here you can skip. So one thing you can, UN declared 2024 as International Year of Camelids, members of camel family to build awareness of untapped potential of camelids. So camelids क्या क्या, other type of camelids, ठीक है, ये है, right? So that this fact you can remember, rest everything we have covered for camels, no need to read here, right? Then अब देखो UN red, right? We have covered UN red and UN red plus, that is there in page number 386, right? ये क्वेश्चन में we have covered UN red and UN red plus, you can study it from there, right? UN red and UN red plus, right? नहीं है तो इधर से भी पढ़ सकते हैं, right? उधर क्लैरिटी से हमने डिस्कस किया रेड एंड रेड प्लस, राइट? सो देन नेक्स्ट इज इंटरनेशनल अरेंजमेंट ऑन फॉरेस्ट. सो दिस इज इंपॉर्टेंट, राइट? वी हैव नॉट कवर्ड, राइट? इंटरनेशनल अरेंजमेंट ऑन फॉरेस्ट, ये बेसिकली कुछ नहीं है. इंटरनेशनल अरेंजमेंट क्या है, 2000 में शुरू हुआ, राइट? सी हियर इट इज गिवन, इंटरनेशनल अरेंजमेंट ऑन फॉरेस्ट एस्टैब्लिश्ड इन 2000 एज ए सक्सेसर टू, ये ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का सक्सेसर हुआ. बेसिकली वी नीड टू रिमेंबर एस्टैब्लिश्ड इन 2000, एंड इसके अंदर ही इंटरनेशनल अरेंजमेंट ऑन फॉरेस्ट, राइट, इसके अंदर बनाया, दैट इज यूनाइटेड नेशंस फोरम ऑन फॉरेस्ट, यूएन फोरम ऑन फॉरेस्ट अंडर इंटरनेशनल अरेंजमेंट ऑन फॉरेस्ट, राइट? सो इंटरनेशनल अरेंजमेंट फॉरेस्ट में एक कंपोनेंट है यूनाइटेड नेशंस फोरम ऑन फॉरेस्ट. सो यूनाइटेड नेशन फोरम ऑन फॉरेस्ट established in 2000 as a functional commission of ECOSOC. ECOSOC facilitates sustainable forest management. So form कब हुआ, 2000 में, right? And form हुआ, right? So UN, United Nations Forum on Forests, United Nations Forum on Forests, right? Basically which tracks about many things, right? See, take away United Nations Forum on Forests 19th meeting हुआ, right? उस meeting में क्या हुआ, world is ऑफ ट्रैक टू अचीव ग्लोबल फॉरेस्ट गोल्स ऑफ 2030. ग्लोबल फॉरेस्ट गोल्स कुछ बनाया फॉरेस्ट का 2030 के लिए, वो अचीव नहीं कर पा रही. मेंबर्स रीअफर्म्ड यूएन स्ट्रेटेजिक प्लान फॉर फॉरेस्ट 2017 टू 2030, राइट? एक यूएन स्ट्रेटेजिक प्लान फॉर फॉरेस्ट भी बनाया, राइट? सी, यूएन स्ट्रेटेजिक प्लान फॉर फॉरेस्ट 20, सो इट हैज 6 फॉरेस्ट ग्लोबल फॉरेस्ट गोल्स. दे आर रिवर्स फॉरेस्ट कवर लॉस, राइट? इंप्रूव फॉरेस्ट बेनिफिट्स एंड लाइवलीहुड, protect forests and use sustainable forest products, then mobilize resources, then promote inclusive forest governance, then cooperate and work across sectors. Cooperate and work across sectors. These are the 6 forest goals. 6 forest goals, right? Then India tabled its significant increase in forest cover in the past 10 years through a scientific approach of sustainable forest management, right? So total forest and tree covers has increased, right? India में इंक्रीज हुआ, that is 24.62 of the total geographical area. So 24% of the area is forest covered area, right? 17 states have more than 33% of their area under forest cover. 17 states have more than 33% of their area under forest cover, right? So then UN strategic plan for forest, yeah, right? 6 goals वगैरह, all the members of UN are members of यूनाइटेड नेशंस फोरम ऑन फॉरेस्ट, इंडिया भी मेंबर है, राइट. कंटेन्स 6 फॉरेस्ट गोल्स, राइट. सो बेसिकली, राइट, दीज थिंग्स यू कैन सिंपली रीड, इतना भी इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, राइट. 1 or 2 रीडिंग्स यू कैन, एंड बाकी इधर ज्यादा कुछ खास है नहीं, राइट. सो दीज थिंग्स यू कैन स्किप, राइट. बहुत कुछ दे रखा है विच आर नॉट दैट इंपॉर्टेंट, राइट. Then next is mangroves conservation. So we have discussed mangroves, right? So no need to study from here, right? Right. So just heading is sufficient. Heading थोड़ा पढ़ लो, बाकी सब इतना जरूरत है नहीं, right? Everything mangroves we covered in the class, that is sufficient, right? So you can skip it. So mangroves किस पेज में है? That is in page number 89, right? पेज नंबर 89 में मैंग्रोव्स में जो भी दिया वो पढ़ लो, दैट विल बी सफिशिएंट. एक मिस्टी स्कीम है, ये पढ़ सकते हो, राइट. जस्ट 2 लाइन्स में, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एनवायरनमेंट फॉरेस्ट मिस्टी मैंग्रोव इनिशिएटिव फॉर शोरलाइन हैबिटेट एंड टैंजिबल इनकम्स अंडर मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एनवायरनमेंट फॉरेस्ट एंड क्लाइमेट चेंज, दैट्स इट. रेस्ट नॉट इंपॉर्टेंट. देन ये इंपॉर्टेंट है, दैट इज फॉरेस्ट एडवाइजरी कमिटी. इनफैक्ट you can note it down when it is given under forest conservation act we have discussed, right? 1980 forest conservation act 1980, right? So forest advisory committee, right, is a statutory body under forest conservation act under ministry of environment forest and climate change, right? So forest advisory committee is a statutory body under Forest Conservation Act under Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Approves diversion of forest land for non-forest. See, Forest Conservation Act का main purpose क्या है? Right? That is to regulate conversion of forest land to non-forest purposes. अब उसमें Forest Advisory Committee है, वो approve करती है, right? Forest Advisory Committee statutory body approves diversion of forest land for non-forest purposes, right? Assesses land request validity, evaluates impact minimization plans and considers potential damage to local ecology and wildlife habitats. Role of is recommendatory in nature, and so far as diversion of forest land for the, so ये recommendatory in nature है, right? बाकी तो Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change है, ये देखती है, right? So statutory body recommendatory in nature with respect to diversion of forest land for non-forest purposes. So अभी ये क्या decision लिया, has exempted surveys involving drilling and felling of up to 100 trees for hydro and other developmental projects in forest areas है उनके लिए, कि भाई तुम्हें कन्वर्जन के लिए परमिशन लेने की जरूरत नहीं है, राइट. देन दिस इज नॉट इंपॉर्टेंट, राइट. देन ये इंपॉर्टेंट है, ईयू का नेचर रिस्टोरेशन प्लान, राइट. सो कई बार ये आता है, नेचर रिस्टोरेशन प्लान ऑफन सीन इन न्यूज इज एसोसिएटेड विथ, दैट इज ईयू, यूरोपियन यूनियन, राइट. यूरोपियन यूनियन अप्रूव्स nature restoration plan, first of its kind. Nature restoration plan, it is a continent wide and comprehensive law that forms part of European Union's European Green Deal. So European Green Deal EU का, right, aims for European Green Deal का aim क्या है? Net zero emissions of greenhouse gases by 2050. Net zero emissions of greenhouse gases by 2050, right? So aim that is contains binding restoration targets of long-term recovery of nature's land and sea areas. It seeks to recover at least 20% of EU's land and sea by 2030 and all ecosystems in need of restoration by 2050. 2050 तक सारे nature's restoration plan, सारे ecosystem है, right? All ecosystems in need to be restored by 2050. 2050 तक, right? And 2030 तक 20% of EU's land and sea areas होना चाहिए, right? Then focus areas covers the existing legislations for wetlands, forests, pollinating insects, right? Wetlands, forests, grasslands, etc. Pollinating insects, forest ecosystems implemented to National Restoration Plan of EU countries, right? Then ये भी important है, European Union's deforestation regulation, right? European Union deforestation regulation, that is the European Commission has proposed to extend the implementation of by 1 year, right? So ये क्या है basically, European Union deforestation regulation, right? So ये क्या करती है, जो दूसरे कंट्रीज में मान ले डिफॉरेस्टेशन का प्रोडक्ट्स कुछ यूज किया, राइट. सी aims to ensure that a set of key goods placed on the EU market will no longer contribute to deforestation and forest degradation in EU and elsewhere in the world. Say इंडिया इज एक्सपोर्टिंग समथिंग टू EU, राइट. सो ये डिफॉरेस्टेशन रेगुलेशन क्या करती है, मान ले अगर डिफॉरेस्टेशन किया कुछ प्रोडक्ट्स बनाने में, राइट, इंडिया में, राइट, सो उनको रेस्ट्रिक्शंस लगाएगी, राइट, ताकि वो यूरोप में ना पहुंचे, राइट. दैट वुड डू व्हाट, इंडिया का जो डिफॉरेस्टेशन है, बेसिकली डिफॉरेस्टेशन नहीं होगा इंडिया में, राइट. सो जहां भी डिफॉरेस्टेशन से प्रोडक्ट बन रहा है, राइट, या फॉरेस्ट डिग्रेडेशन से कुछ प्रोडक्ट बन रहा है, तो वो यूयू एलो नहीं करेगी. उससे क्या होगा, इट विल प्रमोट डिफॉरेस्टेशन को अपोज करेगी वो इनडायरेक्टली, राइट. सो दैट इज टू एंश्योर दैट key goods placed on EU market will no longer contribute to deforestation and forest degradation in EU and elsewhere. Applies to a wide range of products including palm oil. Say palm oil है, right? palm oil हो रहा है मलेशिया में, right? So मलेशिया में मोस्टली फॉरेस्ट लैंड को डिफॉरेस्ट करके palm oil प्रोडक्शन हो रहा है, right? If EU is importing it, so it is indirectly supporting deforestation. So इसमें restriction लगाएगी palm oil में, soy oil में, beef, कोकोआ एंड टिम्बर, इन सब में रिस्ट्रिक्शंस लगाएगा, सो दैट EU doesn't contribute to deforestation, right. Basically EU doesn't want to encourage deforested products, right. So requires companies to verify the origin of the products, right, will act as barrier for countries who export to EU. जैसे countries like India है, right, उनके प्रोडक्ट्स में एक्सपोर्ट वो करेगी, एक्सपोर्ट रोक देगी EU, right. So that is, so India is opposing these kind of policies of EU, right. So European Union deforestation regulation है वो. Then next is wetlands, coastal area. So high seas treaty, again very important, right. High seas treaty, right. High seas treaty, right. So high seas treaty, also called as biodiversity beyond national jurisdiction agreement. Biodiversity beyond national jurisdiction. Basically high seas are what, high seas are, say high seas are जो भी एक्सक्लूसिव इकोनॉमिक जोन एरिया से बाहर है, राइट, वो है हाई सीस. हाई सीस आर बेसिकली सी का एरियाज इन विच नो नेशन कैन क्लेम देयर सोवर्निटी, राइट. इट कम्स अंडर ग्लोबल कॉमन, राइट. जैसे मार्स को नो नेशन कैन से मार्स इज अवर्स, राइट. जैसे हाई सीज भी, राइट. सो क्या है वो, लेट्स वी विल अंडरस्टैंड इट, राइट. सो फर्स्ट लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड हाई सीज ट्रीटी क्या है. हाई सीज ट्रीटी इज आल्सो कॉल्ड एज बायोडाइवर्सिटी बियॉन्ड नेशनल जुरिस्डिक्शन एग्रीमेंट और हाई सीज ट्रीटी, राइट. अब हाई सीज क्या है, हाई सीज इज डिफाइंड एज पर UN clause, right, United Nations Convention on Laws of Sea, right, clause demarcation. High seas are all parts of sea that are not included in exclusive economic zone, comma, in territorial sea or in the internal waters of the state or in the archaeological waters or archipelagic state, right. कुछ नहीं है, सिंपल में I will make you understand. See, say this is इंडिया का लैंड बाउंड्री है, राइट. सो हमने 3 सेट ऑफ वो बनाया, राइट. सी, फर्स्ट इज टेरिटोरियल सी. जैसे टेरिटोरियल सी से अप टिल 12 नॉटिकल माइल्स, 12 नॉटिकल माइल्स तक टेरिटोरियल सी. सी, UN क्लॉज डिमार्केट डिफरेंट जोन्स ऑफ ओशंस, राइट. सो ये लैंड बाउंड्री है, राइट. लैंड बाउंड्री इज कॉल्ड एज बेस लाइन, राइट. सो बेस लाइन से 12 नॉटिकल माइल्स तक, दैट इज टेरिटोरियल सी. टेरिटोरियल सी दैट इज, यस, ये लैंड में जो भी राइट्स है, राइट, जो भी जैसे इंडिया का लैंड है, राइट, जो भी राइट्स है वो टेरिटोरियल में अप्लाई होता है, राइट. दैट इज नथिंग डिफरेंट, राइट. इनफैक्ट जो भी दूसरे कंट्री का फ्लाइट्स भी उड़ना है तो कंट्री से परमिशन लेके उड़ना है उधर, right. So that is territorial sea, right, territorial sea. Next is up to 24 nautical miles from baseline act as contiguous zone, right. See, that is, see, this till here, right, that is from baseline से 24 kilometers, that is अब इधर से 12 और nautical miles, right. See, 12 plus 12 24, so overall till here फ्रॉम बेस लाइन, सो बेस लाइन से बात हो रहा है, दैट इज कोस्टल एरिया से, कोस्ट से 24 नॉटिकल माइल्स, 24 नॉटिकल माइल्स, दैट इज कंटिग्यूअस जोन, कंटिग्यूअस जोन, राइट। हियर बस बाकी राइट सब सेम है, तुम माइनिंग भी कर सकते हो, ठीक है, कुछ भी कर सकते हो, बट अगर दूसरे कंट्री का फ्लाइट्स वगैरह करना है तो दे नीड टू टेक परमिशन फ्रॉम यू, राइट, सो दे डोंट नीड परमिशन फ्रॉम यू, राइट, ठीक है, दैट इज द थिंग, राइट। सो I will show you a video, right? You will get clarity from that, right? First, let's discuss. Then, exclusive economic zone is up to 200 nautical miles from baseline. अब देखो, ये आएगा exclusive economic zone, that is up to 200 nautical miles from base. So base से जो land area से, that is till 200 nautical miles, 200 nautical miles तक, right? Exclusive economic zone, that is where you can mine, right? इकोनॉमिक्स के लिए आपका एक कंट्री का एक्सक्लूसिव इकोनॉमिक जोन है, राइट। सो दीज आर द, ये कहा दिया हुआ है यूएन क्लॉज में, राइट, दे आर गिवन इन यूएन क्लॉज, राइट। यूएन क्लॉज क्या है, विल बी लुकिंग एट इट, राइट। सो अब बियॉन्ड 200 नॉटिकल माइल जो भी है, राइट, सो दैट इज हाई सीज, राइट, दैट इज हाई सीज। हाई सीज किसी नेशन का कुछ नहीं है, राइट, किसी नेशन का कोई वो नहीं है भाई, इंक्लूसिव बेसिस पे कई माइनिंग वगैरह कुछ करना है तो वो करते हैं, राइट। सो दैट इज हाई सीज एरिया, राइट, सो दैट इज हाई सीज, राइट। सो लेट्स वॉच ए वीडियो, यू विल गेट मोर क्लैरिटी ऑन इट।
समुद्र यानी कि पानी का कितना हिस्सा हमारे देश भारत का है? मान लीजिए ये हमारे देश की जमीनी सीमा है। अब एज पर द यूएन क्लॉज, सीमा से 12 नॉटिकल माइल्स तक कहलाता है टेरिटोरियल वाटर। 1 नॉटिकल माइल लगभग होता है 1.85 किलोमीटर। इतने हिस्से में हमारे देश का पूरा कंट्रोल है, यानी कि यहाँ की रिसोर्सेज, फिशिंग, यहाँ पे हम कोई भी कानून बना सकते हैं, यहाँ तक कि किसी और देश की फ्लाइट्स को इस एरिया में अगर उड़ना है तो हमसे परमिशन लेनी होगी। अब इसके बाद अगला 12 नॉटिकल माइल आता है कंटिन्यूअस जोन। यहाँ पे एक अधिकार हमारा कम हो जाता है, यानी कि किसी और देश की फ्लाइट्स हमसे बिना पूछे इस एरिया में उड़ सकती है। इसके बाद अगला 176 नॉटिकल माइल आता है एक्सक्लूसिव इकोनॉमिक जोन। यहाँ पे हम कोई कानून नहीं बना सकते, केवल रिसोर्सेस और फिशिंग का राइट्स होता है। और इसके बाद आता है हाई सीज। यहाँ पे किसी देश का कोई कंट्रोल नहीं, यानी कि पूरी दुनिया का रिसोर्सेस पर राइट होता है हाई सीज का।
Right, you have watched the video, right? In video also it is discussed, right? So baseline, right, territorial sea, contiguous zone, ये important है, question already आया हुआ है, we will be discussing that question, right? Then global commons, that is high seas. High seas are global commons, right? Global commons, ठीक है, high seas, that is approximately 60%, 64% of the seas are considered global commons, belong to no one and everyone enjoys equal rights there, right? Belongs to no one and everyone enjoys equal rights there, right? So that is high seas treaty. Then BBNJ agreement, right? BBNJ agreement is, that is biodiversity beyond national jurisdiction agreement or high seas treaty agreement, right? High seas treaty क्या है, right? So इनका agreement का full name, that is, right, high seas treaty का full name, right, that is agreement on conservation and sustainable use of marine biological diversity of areas, marine biological diversity of areas beyond national jurisdiction, beyond national jurisdiction, agreement on conservation and sustainable use of marine biological diversity, right? So basically जो high seas एरिया में, राइट, मेराइन बायोलॉजिकल डाइवर्सिटी है, उनको कंजर्वेशन एंड सस्टेनेबल यूज करने के लिए, राइट, ट्रीटी बनाया, दैट इज हाई सीज ट्रीटी, राइट। सो दिस इज इंटरनेशनल ट्रीटी अंडर यूएन क्लॉज, यूनाइटेड नेशन कन्वेंशन ऑन लॉ ऑफ सी, राइट। यूएन क्लॉज क्या है वो डिस्कस करेंगे, राइट, राइट, यूएन क्लॉज क्या है, राइट, दैट ऑल्सो विल बी डिस्कसिंग। सो इट इज signed in 2023, right? So it will be the third implementation agreement under UN clause if and when it enters into force. So पहले UN clause में 2 और agreement sign हुआ है, right? That is 1994 में part 11 implementation agreement with respect to exploration and extraction of mineral resources, right? Then in 1995 UN fish stocks agreement, that is conservation and management of migratory fish stocks, right? So ये two agreements already sign हुआ है UN clause के अंदर, right? This will be the third agreement, that is the High Seas Treaty or BBNJ agreement, right? Biodiversity beyond national jurisdiction agreement, right? Beyond national jurisdiction means High Seas Treaty, right? Adoption. So adoption adopted in 2023 and open for signature for 2 years. 2 years के लिए open है, and it will be the international legally binding treaty. Legally binding treaty है, right? This is also important. 91 countries have signed and 8 parties have ratified it as of June 2024, right? Objective is conservation and sustainable use of marine biological diversity of areas beyond national jurisdiction, right? Marine biodiversity को protect करना है in high seas, right? Then Ministry of Earth Sciences will be spearheaded its implementation in India, right? India में Ministry of Earth Sciences implement करेगी. देख, अब Ministry of Environment नहीं है, ये याद करना है. Ministry of Earth Sciences will be spearheading its implementation in India, right? Then key provisions of BBN. So let's इसको देखते हैं. सी एरियाज, राइट? इसमें ऐसा समझते हैं, सी एरियाज बियॉन्ड नेशनल जुरिस्डिक्शन इंक्लूडिंग हाई सीज पे अप्लाई होती है, एंड इट डजंट अप्लाई टू वॉरशिप, मिलिट्री एयरक्राफ्ट और नेवल ऑक्सिलरी, राइट? इनमें अप्लाई नहीं होगा, राइट? ये है, राइट? एंड बाकी ये सब इतना इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, राइट? दिस यू कैन स्किप इट, राइट? सो बाकी ये फीचर्स इंपॉर्टेंट है. 4 सब्सटैंटिव एलिमेंट्स ऑफ हाई सीज ट्रीटी, राइट? ये इंपॉर्टेंट है. क्या है इसमें, राइट? फर्स्ट इज फेयर एंड इक्विटेबल शेयरिंग ऑफ बेनिफिट्स अराइजिंग फ्रॉम मेराइन रिसोर्सेस, राइट? मेराइन रिसोर्सेस, जो भी मेराइन जेनेटिक रिसोर्सेस है, जैसे हाई सीज एरिया है, राइट? हाई सीज एरिया में जो भी मेराइन बायोडाइवर्सिटी है, राइट, उसमें जो भी बेनिफिट्स आएगा, दैट वुड बी शेयर्ड इन ए फेयर एंड इक्विटेबल मैनर, राइट? Fair and equitable manner includes rights and obligations associated with the traditional knowledge of indigenous people and the local communities, right? उनको भी fair and equitable share मिला जाएगा, right? And no country must claim or exercise sovereignty over marine genetic resources. Marine genetic resources में no country can claim resources, right? Then next is measures such as area-based management tools, that is including marine protected areas, जैसे national parks है, right? जो इंडिया में भी है, अदर कंट्रीज में भी है. नेशनल पार्क्स इज टू प्रोटेक्ट टेरिटोरियल एरियाज एंड एनिमल्स, राइट? सो मेराइन में भी मेराइन प्रोटेक्टेड एरियाज, राइट, ऑन द लाइंस ऑफ नेशनल पार्क्स, राइट? सो मेराइन ये भी एमटी एरिया बेस्ड मैनेजमेंट टूल्स एस्टैब्लिश वेल कनेक्टेड नेटवर्क्स ऑफ मेराइन प्रोटेक्टेड एरियाज, network of marine protected areas. To date, the largest international marine protected area is Antarctica's Ross Sea, right? Marine protected areas implement करेंगे, right? बनाएंगे, उनको protect करेंगे, उनका biodiversity वगैरह. Then environmental impact assessments, right? जैसे कुछ भी, right, से any country से high seas में से India is involving in mining of polymetallic nodules, right? So उसके लिए एनवायरमेंट इंपैक्ट असेसमेंट कराएगी, राइट? एनवायरमेंट इंपैक्ट असेसमेंट करा के उस इंफॉर्मेशन सारे कंट्रीज को शेयर करेगी इंडिया, राइट? सो दैट इज देयर अंडर द हाई सीज ट्रीटी. देन नेक्स्ट इज कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग एंड ट्रांसफर ऑफ मेराइन टेक्नोलॉजी, राइट? सो इट विल बी मेजरली यूजफुल फॉर जैसे स्मॉल आइलैंड नेशंस है, स्मॉल आइलैंड नेशंस, राइट? उनके पास कैपेसिटी है नहीं, राइट, रिसर्च वगैरह करने के लिए या मेराइन टेक्नोलॉजी यूज करने के लिए फॉर माइनिंग और फॉर अदर पर्पसेस, राइट? मेडिसिन में मेराइन का कुछ यूज करना है तो उनके पास है नहीं, तो उनका कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग एंड ट्रांसफर ऑफ मेराइन टेक्नोलॉजी में भी यूज होगा, राइट? सो दैट इज द 4 substantive elements. One is equitable sharing, right? Second is marine protected areas. Third is environmental impact assessment of all major activities. And fourth is capacity building and the transfer of marine technology, right? वो किसको? Small island nations and landlocked nations भी है. Landlocked nations है, उनके पास है नहीं marine area, right? या high seas है नहीं उनके पास, right? उनको भी technology with respect to marine रिलेटेड टेक्नोलॉजी उनको भी देने के लिए, राइट. सो दैट इज विथ रेस्पेक्ट टू हाई सीज ट्रीटी एंड यूएन कन्वेंशन ऑन लॉस ऑफ सीज, राइट. सो इट इज व्हाट, इट इज यूएन लॉ विथ रेस्पेक्ट टू रेगुलेशन ऑफ सीज, राइट. टेरिटोरियल क्या है, सोवरनिटी राइट्स कितने हद तक है, वी हैव ऑलरेडी डिस्कस्ड, राइट. सो यूएन कन्वेंशन ऑफ लॉ ऑफ पीस में ही ये सब डिस्कस किया, राइट. कितना नेशन का कितना टेरिटोरियल राइट्स है एंड ऑल, राइट. कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव इंटरनेशनल लॉ फॉर लेजिटिमेट बिहेवियर, राइट. यूएन क्लॉज is comprehensive international law for legitimate behavior on and use of seas and oceans everywhere, adopted in 1982 and enforced in 1994, adopted in 1982 and enforced in 1994, enforced in 1994, right. Almost universal acceptance, right, including, right, basically agree करा के मनाने में 10 साल लग गए, 12 साल लग गए, right. And it defines rights and duties of nations regarding activities in oceans, addresses issues on sovereignty, etc., right. And establishes international seabed authority, establishes international seabed authority, right. Then next is coral bleaching, right. Corals we have discussed, right. Coral bleaching we have discussed, right. India corals comprehensively we have covered, no need to read it here, so you can page 91, right. Page 91 say you can study, right. Then next again Ramsar sites, you can study it from page 81, and here you need to study these four, right. इन चारों का you need to study सब, ठीक है. Nagi and Nakti bird sanctuaries, Bihar, right. Both are man-made reserves, Nagi Dam and Nakti Dam, and feature dry deciduous forest surrounded by hills, right. So although Nagi lies in Gangetic plains, have Deccan Plateau landscape, they are recognized as important bird by BirdLife International, right. Important bird and biodiversity area, right. Then Nanjarian Bird Sanctuary, Tamil Nadu, is another Ramsar site declared, right. Nanjaran Lake, a small shallow wetland named after King Nanjaran, who restored and repaired it, depends on heavy water flow from Nalla drainage, right. Then Kajuveli Bird Sanctuary, Tamil Nadu. Then Tawa Reservoir of Madhya Pradesh, a important located inside Satpura Tiger Reserve and borders Satpura National Parks and Bori Wildlife Sanctuary. Very important. Tawa Reservoir constructed at confluence of Tawa and Denva rivers. Tawa and Denva rivers, right. Reservoir, right. And these are, so with this new wetlands India added Ramsar sites 85 हो गया, right. So Ramsar list taken total number to sites to 85, right. So that is Ramsar sites, right. Then wetlands, right. So baki other wetlands we have already discussed, right. Sundarban bhi discuss kiya, right. Pulicat Lake also there in the notes. Songsho Lake you can study, and Kanwar Lake we have already discussed, and still you can, if you want, you can study. See, it draws waters from confluence of Gandak, Bia and Kare river, right. Ramsar site है, right. Natural wetland, fresh water natural wetland, rivers का confluence से बनती है, right. Then that's it. And ये United Nations Spring Initiative important नहीं है. Shallow aquifer recharge, just read it, just one read, right. One reading is sufficient, इतना important है नहीं. Fish MIP important है नहीं. Plankton crash important है नहीं, right. Then gap limitation is important, just one reading you will easily remember it, ठीक है. That is concept in ecology that refers to the physical constraints of the size of prey that a predator can consume, right. Physical constraints refers to physical constraints on the size of prey that a predator can consume. This limitation is primarily determined by the size of predator's mouth or gape, right. जैसे predator का जितना बड़ा mouth है, right. जैसे हमने देखा घड़ियाल, right. घड़ियाल क्या है, माउथ कितना ज्यादा लंबा वो कर नहीं सकती है, राइट. थोड़ा ज्यादा, इट इज लॉन्ग, इट कैनॉट ओपन वाइड, राइट. सो इट कैनॉट ईट बिग एनिमल्स, राइट. इंसान को अटैक ही नहीं कर सकता, ये स्मॉल फिश ही खाएगी, राइट. सो दैट इज गैप लिमिटेशन, राइट, दैट इज लिमिटेशन ऑफ घड़ियाल, राइट। सो जितना बड़ा माउथ है, राइट, उतना बड़ा प्रे को खा सकती है, राइट। सो दैट इज फिजिकल कंस्ट्रेंट ऑन द साइज ऑफ प्रे। साइज ऑफ प्रे कितना होगा, वो आपका माउथ का विड्थ है उस पर डिपेंड होगा, राइट। सो हेंस स्मॉल प्रेडेटर्स कैन ओनली ईट स्मॉल प्रे वाइल बिगर प्रेडेटर्स कैन ईट बिगर प्रे, राइट, ये भी है, राइट। प्रेडेटर्स माउथ और गेप पे डिपेंड होता है, एंड स्मॉल प्रेडेटर्स स्मॉल वो करेंगे, राइट। इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ गेप लिमिटेशन, राइट, शेपिंग फूड वेब्स, ड्राइव्स एडाप्टेशंस, रेगुलर प्रेडेटर प्रे बैलेंस, predicts environmental changes, etc. Then megafauna, it describes animals above 50 kgs or megafauna, right, वो इतना इंपॉर्टेंट है नहीं। देन ये इंपॉर्टेंट है, स्ट्रोमेटोलाइट्स। स्ट्रोमेटोलाइट्स आर इंपॉर्टेंट, दीज आर बेसिकली व्हाट, rocks, rocks है which have microbials attached to it, mostly cyanobacteria, and most of the stromatolites are very old, that is 3.5 billion years ago, billion years ago form हुआ है, right, that is earth is what, earth is some 4 billion years old, right, 4 billion years old or 3.8 billion years old. So these are one of the earliest living organisms, right, evidences of earliest living organisms, right, earliest evidence of bacteria, पहले अर्थ में क्या आया, बैक्टीरिया, राइट। सो दैट इज माइक्रोबियल साइनोबैक्टीरिया, राइट। सो दीज आर रॉक्स, रॉक्स इतना पुराना रॉक्स है, राइट, अभी तक उनमें एविडेंसेस ऑफ बैक्टीरिया है, राइट। So they refer to range of microbial communities that are associated with layers of rocks, right, layers of rocks. They are one of the oldest living organisms on earth. So stromatolites are one of the oldest living organisms on earth. ये रॉक्स भी है तो वो भी ओल्डेस्ट है, बिकॉज भाई 3.5 बिलियन ईयर्स पहले, राइट, वो रॉक्स भी है तो वो भी वेदरिंग हो जाएंगे, राइट। सो स्टिल नाउ दे आर एग्जिस्ट, दैट मीन्स दे आर वन ऑफ द ओल्डेस्ट लिविंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स ऑन अर्थ, राइट, living organisms on earth, right. So they are partially responsible for great oxidation event. So let's arrange responsible for great oxidation which changed the composition of our atmosphere by introducing oxygen, right. Then they are typically relegated to extreme environmental niches, thus are फाउंड रेयरली एंड आर स्पेर्सली स्कैटर्ड अक्रॉस द ग्लोब। जैसे यूएस, ऑस्ट्रेलिया में है, राइट। एंड रिसेंटली द फर्स्ट डिस्कवर्ड ऑफ लिविंग शैलो मेराइन स्ट्रोमेटोलाइट्स वाज मेड इन द मिडिल ईस्ट नियर द रेड सी। रेड सी के पास भी स्ट्रोमेटोलाइट्स डिस्कवर किया, राइट। ऑस्ट्रेलिया में भी है, राइट, रेड सी के पास भी है, राइट। दे आर फाउंड रेयरली and are sparsely scattered across the globe, right, कई मिलेगा, right. Best example is Australian West Bay, right. Australian West Bay, you can just simply search on the internet, you can see basically rocks type form किया, right. So stromatolites are rocks on which living organisms once lived. Earliest evidences of life on earth, that is 3.5 billion years ago, they are basically layers of rocks, right, layers of rocks. On these rocks there are evidences of cyanobacteria or bacterial microbes, right. Then next is environmental DNA. This is again important, right, environmental DNA or eDNA, right. eDNA or environmental DNA is an organismal DNA that is released in the environment from the cellular material shed by organisms via skin, excrement into aquatic or terrestrial. Basically this is जो भी, जैसे मान ले हमारा डीएनए, राइट, दैट इज शेड इनटू सम लैंड एरिया और सम ओशन एरिया, दैट इज कॉल्ड एनवायरमेंटल डीएनए, राइट. सो एनवायरमेंटल डीएनए इज इंक्रीजिंगली बीइंग यूज्ड टू डिटेक्ट द प्रेजेंस ऑफ स्पीसीज एंड असेस बायोडाइवर्सिटी इन एन इकोसिस्टम, राइट. सो रेदर देन स्पीसीज की जरूरत नहीं है अभी, ईडीएनए से हम मेजर कर सकते हैं कि भाई स्पीसीज कब ये स्पीसीज थे, राइट, कितने स्पीसीज है इधर प्रेजेंट है कि नहीं है, राइट। अनलाइक कन्वेंशनल मेथड्स, एनवायरमेंटल डीएनए अप्रोच इज रिलायबल and accurate and can be done at low cost. So that's why it is important from the perspective of studying of ecology, biodiversity, etc. Right? So this information can be used to inform the IUCN red list of threatened species and other conservation tools. Right? Then speciation इतना important है नहीं, छोड़ो. Then bioluminescence again is important. It is property of living organisms emitting light. Living organisms emitting light, one of the best known example is jellyfish. They emit light, right? And some insects, they emit light, that is bioluminescence, right? Light emitted, right, ये इतना technicality से important नहीं. Emitted spectral range of light emission of bioluminescence organisms is blue to red light. Spectral range of light emission, right? Then species exhibiting bioluminescence are sponges, jellyfish, fish. फिश में कुछ फिशेस है वो बायोल्यूमिनेसेंस, वर्म्स, सी वॉलनट्स, फायरफ्लाइज, फंगाई, फंगाई भी बायोल्यूमिनेसेंस फंगाई है, बैक्टीरिया, फ्यू बैक्टीरिया आर बायोल्यूमिनेसेंस, डीप सी श्रिम्प्स एक्सेट्रा, राइट, वेल्स भी है, मेनी ऑर्गेनिजम्स आर देयर, वो बायोल्यूमिनेसेंट है, राइट. सो फंक्शंस ऑफ बायोल्यूमिनेसेंस, काउंटर इल्यूमिनेशन, दैट इज कैमोफ्लॉग अगेंस्ट प्रेडेटरी एनिमल्स एक्सेट्रा, राइट. देन फैक्ट्री फार्मिंग, फैक्ट्री फार्मिंग क्या है, बेसिकली स्मॉल एरिया में raising livestock and poultry in high density facilities under controlled conditions to maximize production efficiency and output of dairy products at a lower cost, that is factory farming, right. Then wood encroachment इतना important है नहीं. Green water बस refers to moisture in soils and vegetation, right. And बस you can simply read it and you can understand it, right. Then organizations in use, sites, right, we have discussed, class notes में you can study, right. Then IUCN we have already seen, right, class notes में है, you can study, right. Then next is World Wildlife Fund. World Wildlife Fund, right, again ये important है. Living Planet Report, LPR, Living Planet Report is released by WWF. I remembered it like this, ले पर वफ, ले पर वफ, ले लिविंग प्लैनेट पे, ले पर LPR, ले पर वफ, राइट. लिविंग प्लैनेट रिपोर्ट कौन निकालता है, वर्ल्ड वाइल्ड लाइफ फंड, राइट. ये इंपॉर्टेंट रिपोर्ट है, ये याद करना है, राइट. एनजीओ है, राइट, एंड यू कैन इजीली स्टडी. एंड ये इंपॉर्टेंट है, ऑर्गेनाइजेस अर्थ आवर, राइट, अर्थ आवर, राइट, दैट इज 1 घंटे के लिए लाइट बंद करके, राइट, बायोडाइवर्सिटी उसका इंपॉर्टेंस स्प्रेड करना है, राइट. सिंपल थिंग, यू कैन सिंपली स्टडी, राइट. सो with this we are done with the first part, right. So first part, so let's see what we have studied, right, and the important things. See, red list notes में है, right. See, this sustainable finance for landscape conference, ये important है, right. Then international big cat alliance, again important, right. So बाकी सब ये notes में है, notes में है, notes में है, notes में है. And funga is very important, right. Then World Network of Biosphere notes, notes, right. UN Red important, but it is there in the notes, right. Forest arrangement notes में नहीं है, but इतना important भी नहीं है, right. Then mangrove conservation, then high seas treaty is very important, right. Ramsar sites and all notes में है, वो important है, right. Then sites, organizations etc. जो notes में है वो important, these are important but they're in the notes, right. Mostly these are there which are important, needs to be covered. बाकी जो छोटे छोटे topics है, right, those can cover, right. So in next class we will be dealing with climate change related PT 365, right. So most of the things are there in our notes, so like the notes is as comprehensive as possible, right. Then remaining things which are important, which are not covered in the notes, we will be covering in PT 365 classes, right. See you in the next class. Bye.